pause. Take a breath. Before Europe had cities, before Asia built empires, before history even had a name, Africa was already awake. Not just surviving, not just guessing, but building civilization. This is not a myth. This is not an exaggeration. This is ancient Egypt, a civilization so advanced that thousands of years later, we still struggle to explain how it was all achieved. Tonight, you are not just watching history, you are remembering it. Because this story is not distant, it is not foreign. It is African. And by the end of this video, you will understand something that schools rarely teach. Civilization did not spread to Africa. Civilization started here. Long before it was called Egypt, long before Greeks stepped foot on African soil, the Nile River flowed like a living spine across the land. Every year it flooded, and every year it left behind rich black soil. The people called this land Kemet, the Black Land. Not because of symbolism, but because of the earth itself. Here, Africans learned something revolutionary, that nature could be studied, predicted, and worked with, not feared. They planted, they harvested, they recorded time. This was not luck, this was knowledge. And that knowledge became power. By 3100 BCE, over 5,000 years ago, ancient Egypt was already a unified African state. It had laws, administration, and governance. While other parts of the world were still largely tribal, Egypt had cities, organized religion, medicine, mathematics, architecture, and writing. Just let that sink in for a moment. Africa was running a complete civilization while others were still learning how to settle down. The pharaoh was not just a king. He was seen as the bridge between heaven and earth. Order, balance, and truth. This concept was called Mat, and Mat shaped every part of their society. The genius of these ancient Africans was simply astonishing, especially in what we would now call science. Ancient Egyptians performed brain surgery. They treated wounds with antiseptics. They understood human anatomy so deeply that modern medicine still studies their ancient texts. They calculated the exact length of the solar year. They mapped the stars with incredible precision. They aligned massive monuments with constellations. And no, this was not the work of aliens. This was pure African intellect, passed down through generations, measured, tested, and refined. Civilization is not magic. It is discipline. Now pause here, because nothing captures the world's admiration and even fear of ancient Egypt like the pyramids. Think about it. Over 2 million stone blocks, each weighing several tons. Placed with a precision so exact that our modern machines still struggle to replicate it. The Great Pyramid of Giza is aligned to true north more accurately than most modern skyscrapers. This was not primitive construction. This was genius. And it's crucial to understand this clearly. The builders were not slaves. They were skilled African workers, engineers, planners, and artisans. They were paid for their labor, they were respected, and they were proud of their work. This was a civilization that truly understood legacy. And this legacy didn't stay in Africa. Africa taught the world. The famous Greek philosophers Plato, Pythagoras, Herodotus, they did not invent knowledge out of thin air. They traveled to Egypt to study. They learned mathematics here. They learned philosophy here. They learned astronomy here. And when they returned to Europe, they carried this African knowledge with them. But over time, history rewrote the story. The origins were obscured, and Africa was erased from its own narrative. The spiritual power of ancient Egypt was also incredibly profound. For them, life did not end at death. Death was merely a doorway to another existence. The Solther, Ka, Ba, and Okwas believed to be eternal. This belief system produced a society with remarkable moral discipline, a focus on long-term thinking, and a deep respect for life itself. Their religion was not based on fear. It was based on alignment. If you lived in accordance with Mat, with truth and balance, your soul would live forever. This powerful philosophy went on to shape Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, whether it's officially acknowledged or not. So let's say this as clearly as possible. Ancient Egypt was an African civilization. The art shows it. Modern DNA analysis confirms it. The language itself proves it. We see dark skin, broad features, and a culture that is distinctly African in the records they left behind. This was not a misplaced European civilization that happened to be in Africa. It was Africa's crown jewel, a testament to the continent's own brilliance. So what happened? Egypt didn't fall because Africans failed. It declined because powerful empires invaded. Persians, Greeks, and then Romans. Each took knowledge, each drained power and resources. But the civilization itself never truly vanished. It moved. It evolved. It spread south and west, into Nubia, into the great empires of Ghana, Mali, and Songhat. Africa did not lose civilization. It spreaded across the continent, adapting and flourishing in new forms. And why does any of this matter today? Because this story is not just about the past, it's about identity. A people who forget their greatness become easy to control. But a people who remember who they are and where they come from, they rise. Ancient Egypt proves something that can be uncomfortable for the old historical narrative, that Africa does not need permission to lead. That greatness is not something that has to be imported. That brilliance is native to this land. So when you hear someone say that Africa has no history, remember the pyramids. When someone says that Africa must be saved, remember the self-sufficient glory of Kemet. And when doubt whispers in your ear that greatness is not for you, remember this. Civilization began right where you stand. Africa was first, and what was first can rise again. Pause. Look forward. History is not just behind you. It is waiting for you to continue it. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more.